What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the On the Clock show for a second day in a row. Oh my God, what's happening? I'm your host, it's Anton from Blue Chip Prospect, obviously, because this is on my channel, and with my good friend, the Prospect Don. How are you doing today?
Life as a prospect Dawn is pretty darn good. Everything is going well. I had a little issue with my dog today or
Yeah,
yesterday, but then it went into today. But he's a big boy, so he'll be all right. But other than that, excited to
he's a
talk
big boy,
about
like
Blackhawks prospect pool. He's
a
a Chihuahua,
Chihuahua
but
big boy.
he's a Chihuahua big boy. This is him.
Ooh.
Yeah, look at that guy. He's a funny guy. His name is Bear. So yeah, definitely an interesting day, but excited to talk Blackhawks prospect pool because that's what we're doing. But everybody, if you guys want to join the Discord, go into the description below. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have so many popping conversations before the NHL draft. And I'm going to go to the combine and the draft. So if you guys have any questions, let me know and I will just swift through them and answer them. So thank you guys for watching, and yeah, excited about this. How are you doing today?
Doing really well. Yeah, doing well. So the goal of the video today is doing what we were supposed to do yesterday, but because he wouldn't stop talking, then we couldn't do it. So we're gonna do the prospect pool, and we have, like I said yesterday, the specialist with us, so that's gonna help. Also, if the video lags a little bit, I'm just trying different softwares right now because I want to be able to record and also stream at the same time on X with the Prospect Don and on YouTube all at the same time and aggregate all the comments and insert live and all these, all these things. So I'm trying different softwares. If this one lags, then I'll go to the next one next time. That's how I'm going to figure out how things work because I have no clue how to do this. But I have something that I prepared. You didn't see it, but I was going to do it. And I want to make the prospect pool thing a little spicy. So I'm going to put that on screen. I prepared this thing here where basically you're going to be ranking your own prospect from superstars to fringe fourth line NHL players. I hope you can see well. Can you?
Yeah, I can see well. This is just a little different in terms of what I had, but this is actually much better. So this is going to
Yeah.
be cool.
Well, basically, because there's a couple of ways to do that. You can go through every prospect and just talk about them. You can do like a top 10 or a 10, 15 or top 15 of the prospects. But I feel like it's a little bit more interactive to just like um, put them there. And at the end, like as we do more prospect pool, we can also rank the prospect pools. Like if a prospect pool has like 5 superstars and no depth compared to one that has a tons of depth but just one superstar and stuff like that, in the end, like we can all compare them together and see who has the best prospect pool. And I
My
gave myself
question,
yeah, go ahead.
my question is for the goalies. Where do I put them? Like,
Basically, like they both suck, so it's okay.
no, Drew is pretty good on it.
I'm
Adam
joking.
Guyan's he's coming alive, but for the tiers, I know
Yeah,
it's like
like, well, superstar is a superstar. Like I would say, if he's a future
none
top
of them
starter,
are superstars.
yeah, no, but let's say he's a future like top 15 starter in the NHL, put him in first line. If he's a top 30 starter in the NHL, then put it in top 6.
Okay,
And
cool,
if
cool,
he's
cool.
fringe or like backup replacement, then bottom pair, whatever. But in the end, it's on you to like explain your thought about what you think about those
All right.
players. I also gave myself the liberty to put some players in there that like I put Levshunov, like basically any player that hasn't played a full season in terms of games played, I put him there, and also add Kchinsky because even though he played more than the full season, I think in terms of games played, he's at like 90. He's still a prospect. Like he's still a guy you don't know where he's going to be, and I want to know what your opinion on him. So the guys like Bedard and Nazar, they're not in there because they shouldn't be in there. But the guys that have a little bit less games played or are still a little bit of a question mark, they are on the list. Is that good for you?
Yeah, this is perfect.
No, you have no choice anyway because it's
All
it's prepared that way. So, all right, so well, let's start this thing right away, and we're gonna go with the first one, which is Anton Fondell. I'm excited to know or to see what you think about him. Is he like a first line, a top 6, a superstar? Let's see the
Well, the thing is,
homerism.
like, his I would see him as a first line. I don't necessarily know if the Blackhawks have a lot of superstar players in their prospect pool at this point in time. But the thing is, Anton Fondell would be the only one that could reach that. Artyom Levshunov could as well, but at the same time, it's just a superstar is so hard to attain. If it was like star, it would be a little easier. But like first line and top pair is just also very, very good. Like superstar could be like top 10 or top 20 in the league. So that's such a hard tier. But Anton Fondell definitely has the upside if he reaches an Alexander Barkov. But that would put so much pressure on him. So I would put him. I don't think anyone right now would be in the superstar category, but it's a disservice because it's just such a hard category to be put in.
Well, it is, but it has to be there because when you have, let's say, like the Habs last year when they had Demidov in their prospect pool,
yeah.
that Demidov would have been in a superstar category, at least to me. So, but there's a separation
probably
between
only like
a first line
prospects.
player. Yeah, exactly. There's not going to be a lot. But what I'm saying is that there's a demarcation between superstar and a first line player. As much as there's a demarcation between a guy that's a for sure first line type of guy and a guy that's a top 6 guy. You know, it's not the same level. So it's on you to judge anyway what you want to do.
I would put Anton in the first line. Like I'm not going to be a homer and say Anton is going to be just a flat out superstar. And your thumbnail for Anton Fondell versus Zakowski, like delete that. That was so, you know how much hate we're gonna get? Like Zarovsky is a great player, playmaker, whatever, like dangler. But the thing is, he's a second round pick to a third overall pick. I can't wait to see the comments of that, and that's gonna be hilarious. But that's crazy thumbnail. But Anton Fondell, first line player, I could see him as a star contributor to other stars as well. Like this is a guy that you want on a Stanley Cup team, in my opinion. And the Blackhawks have created such an incredible prospect pool that I think they needed to take an Anton Fondell. But I just don't see any other player in the 2025 draft class right now that's a superstar other than Schaefer. I haven't seen that in Misa either. But I love Misa as a skater. But I'm just like, there might only be one superstar as a prospect, and then in 3 to 5 years we reevaluate. It's just these kids are 18, 19 years old. I don't want to put that on any of these guys to become a superstar. Like Artyom Levshunov has that upside, but also like the floor we've seen has just not been superstar level, and it takes so long for these defensemen as well. So
but anyway, it's not necessarily about the ultimate upside. Like a lot of players have ultimate upside of top 6, first line, whatever. But it's more about what's the most realistic outcome in their prime, basically. What you expect of them in their prime as a realistic outcome. Not like he has 1% chance to be a superstar. That's not really the point.
Yeah, I gotcha. So,
and to explain the thumbnail, the point of it is just like the podcast we did before. We were talking about Florida, and we have like 100 views on the on the podcast. I was like, you know what? Let me do something that's gonna. What'd you say?
The old one or the new one? Like you posted that already?
The one that we talked about Florida, their pick that could go to Chicago. We have barely any views on it because it's Florida. You know, there's not a lot of people who's gonna watch this thing. So I was like, let's grab a little bit more attention. and so obviously in the video we're not comparing both. We're just a little bit clickbaity, but that was the point. All right, so let's go with the next one. And by the way, I would agree. Maybe like I'm not sure if I would have put in first line, but I do agree that he has that potential. But I think personally, I would probably have put him in top 6. I think it's a more realistic outcome for him. I don't think he's a middle 6 player. I think he's a top 6 player, but I'm just not 100% sure he has that first line type of upside. But again, that's debatable. So good. Let's go with Vaclav Nestrail.
Well, the thing about him is he's such a versatile player, and he has an incredible amount of upside. So I would say top 6 upside, but he probably, just settles into that middle 6 versatile role. But I'm going to say top 6 because I'm so high on him. And this is a guy that is 6'6" with so much raw skill. And you could just see the upside there. But at the same time, like I could totally see how he's a middle 6 versatile player that is one of the best third line players in the entire league at one point. Like, this is a guy that just possesses so many different NHL traits, but he's just in the NCAA at UMass. He's actually performed very, very well. So I really do like Nestrail a lot. So I'm going to put him at top 6, but I could totally see a middle 6 role for him settling in. And it's not based on his talent. It's based on the role that he can play, because he can play up and down the lineup. And his B game is very, very solid too. So he's going to be a producer at any level.
Honestly, I understand that he might end up a middle 6 player. Depends how the team is deep. Also, like at some point, some teams can have a third line that's almost a second line. But I do believe in Nestrail in being a top 6 player. I think he has that skills. You combine that with the, I feel like the will to get better and the size. It's yeah, he's almost, to me, he's almost a sure shot to be top 6 player. Maybe not a driver, but at least as a complementary piece. And he's doing really well this year too. So, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Next, Sasha Bavar.
For me, I would put him in middle 6. I think that he's going to be settling in as a primary third line center, which is going to be one of the best, like a top 10 third line center in the league. He has that edge to him. He has that skill. I wanted to see a lot more production this year, but I mean, he left North Dakota for a lot of different reasons, but I think that, he hasn't ultimately played as good as he probably wanted there, but it's very, very loaded at Boston. Like, I feel like you can't really do what he wanted to do when you have all those guys. And now Tynan Lawrence and Caleb Malholtra are coming in next year. So if he's still there,
I don't think he will.
I don't know if he's going to be there. I don't necessarily know if he's ready for an NHL jump at all either.
AHL?
AHL, yeah, I get that. But I think that another season in the NCAA honestly would do him right. But at the same time, BU is getting so many more great centers that it's not going to help him. Like, if he was in a better role, like say he was at Michigan State and their center depth isn't as good as BU coming in next year, because Michigan State has, they have Shane Van Stogge, who's probably going to play in the AHL, but they have 2 guys in Mason West that's going to be there, who's 6'6". They have Porter Martone, who could still be there, but I don't think he will. He'll probably go in the AHL, NHL area. And then, do they have Brooks Rogowski? Who's that big guy that's coming there? They have a huge, Brooks Rogowski and Nikita Klepov. So Michigan State has both those guys coming in. I feel like that would be better for him. Sasha Bavar is one of my guys. I think that a lot of people were shocked about Cole Iserman not being the pick here in 2024, but at the same time, Boisvert shows that he could be a true center, really good defensively. The point production isn't going to pop out, but I can see him in like a Anisimov role back when he was playing with Kane. Kane and Panarin for a little bit there, Anisimov was playing with them. So I just feel like that would be kind of a good fit for him in the middle 6 role. I don't see him necessarily as a 2C, but if he can continue to develop, he could definitely be that. But again, the Blackhawks depth is so good. Like, if he was on the Canucks, I probably would put him and Coots as their top 6 centers and the prospect pool for a very, very long time. But the Blackhawks just have so many centers that they've drafted. But I think he's one of the true centers that will stick there.
Yeah, and I agree again with middle 6. I never really thought that he was a top 6 level player, a pure top 6 level player, because I think like his main strength are probably using his body a little bit, not necessarily to hit, but to shield the puck and
like puck
make
battles.
plays a lot. Yeah, and also his shot. Like, those are his main strength. He kind of a little bit make me think of a guy on the Habs right now, Oliver Kapanen. A guy that can be responsible defensively, that can finish plays from more dynamic playmakers around him, that can fit on the second line. Like right now, Oliver Kapanen is playing on the second line, but ideally, when the Habs are competing for a Stanley Cup, he will be on the third line. He's most likely not going to be that high-end second line center that we need, but he's a guy that has like complementary offense. He's not a creator, but he has a solid shot. He plays well defensively. He can kill penalties. He's heavy on the puck. He's not like a forechecker or a hitter or something like that, but he's heavy on the puck. And I see the same thing a little bit for Sasha Bavar, the same type of offensive upside and defensive upside as a player. And I think that's a solid pick. It's
yeah, and I want to make this clear because I know I'm going to get bad comments from like Lebowski and some of these other guys. If they disagree with me. Having a third line center like a Sasha Bavar in your system that provides additional scoring on that third line and defensive play with a grittiness and rugged, like, in that Chicago style player where he was a boxer, he grew up fighting, and he is not afraid to like take a hit to make a play. And I
Hmm.
feel like this is a very valuable piece. This is
It
a guy
is.
that a lot of teams covet. So having a guy on the third line as skilled and talented and defensively responsible and plays well in all three zones like Sasha Bavar is very, very important for
I
a
think there's
team like
absolutely
any team.
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying that Sasha Bova is a middle six.
Yeah.
Like it could be a high end third line center. He could replace on the second line when there's an injury. He's that type of player. I don't think he's a pure top six player, like I was saying, but he's a guy that can play on both line depending on the situation, depending on the depth, depending on who's there, who he plays good with. It's just like on a skill level basis or on a production level basis too. He's not in that category of top six player, but you need just as good a bottom six as you need a good top six to be a contender. Depth is super important. You need your superstars, you need your good top six. But if you don't get secondary offense from your third line or even like your fourth line to chip in once in a while, you're not gonna go far. So, so I think he's an important piece to the organization. He's just not like high upside offense, in my opinion. But he could score like 20 goals or something around that, plus using his body, like
Yeah.
we were saying.
Mhm.
All right, let's
Completely
go with
agree.
the next one. Is
Mhm.
Artyom Levshunov.
Based on the roster construction and based on where the Blackhawks picked him and my belief in the flashes, I see top pair. But at the same time, I think that he could settle in as top four. But the thing is, he is going to be playing on the top pair. I think that role was between him and Sam Renzel this year, and during the offseason and during training camp in the first few games in the NHL, we saw Artyom Levshunov take that little bit of a step. The point production is actually really, really good. I don't know if, and we're not even seeing the full spectrum of a Artyom Levshunov. Like I've talked to many people. It's an Artyom Levshunov experience. You don't know what he's going to do out there shift by shift, but when you put it all together, he might win a game for you or he might lose a game for you right now. But this is the kind of thing you want during a rebuild. And the Blackhawks are very, very close to getting out of the rebuild, but Levshunov is that guy that has that top pair potential. It's not
All right.
will he get to it, but like his floor is, we don't know at this point, but he is a guy that can be a top pair defenseman, and I think he will settle into that role for the next 6 to 8 to 10 years on the Blackhawks. And I think Sam Renzel is going to be right next to him, and it's going to be like the 1-2 punch at right-handed defenseman is just going to be incredible for the Blackhawks because it's very hard to find those guys.
All right. Cool. How has he looked? Like, how is his consistency defensively?
It's not there. Like that's the problem. His consistency in all levels of the game is not there.
Yeah, it's always
And
been that.
he gets into his head a lot. He's very, very young. He's very, very raw, but the offensive flashes are there too. And that's just not as much of his game that we saw in the NCAA. So that's actually really good. He's a really good puck handler, but when he starts to think about it and he gets in his head, that's when he starts to lose the puck. There's sometimes that he holds on to the puck too long. He's trying to make multiple plays, trying to dangle multiple defenders, especially when he has space and he has a little bit of speed. There, he does give away the puck sometimes, but at the same time, you want to see those flashes. You want to see him continue to gain that confidence. I think defensively, he's going to get better. There's sometimes he's in no man's land. There's sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just, what a rookie is going to be able to do. Like
Yeah.
this is a guy that is so young. He has very little NHL experience. Kevin Kchinsky has more games played under his belt. And I think Artyom Levshunov has just shown a lot more than some of these other defensemen that the Blackhawks have had recently. And I think that he's the best defensive prospect the Blackhawks have had in my lifetime, in my opinion. Obviously, Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook were developed into what they developed, and Hjalmarsson, and you had these guys. But what Artyom Levshunov does at such a young age is very, very impressive. But at the same time, you see why he doesn't play 25 minutes a night, you see why he's not getting the hype of Matthew Schaefer. He's just not complete at all. So if he becomes complete, that's a very scary player.
All right, cool. All right, let's go with the next one. And the next one is Nathan Bem, a player that I like, but I'm not sure how it translates to the NHL. But what do you think of him?
Incredibly highly skilled. Like, this is a guy that is absolutely going off in the WHL for the Blazers alongside JP Hurlburt. And I think the kind of conversation around JP Hurlburt is a little bit of disappointing, because I think people don't believe in his B game, and I don't think people believe in Nathan Bem's B game. He was a player that fell in the draft. He was ranked around 40 in Cam Robinson's consensus and elite prospects, and he went 67th or somewhere around those lines. And I just feel like there's a reason for that, because we know that the A game is there. We know this is a guy that is really, really great with the puck. He's going to be able to score. He's going to be able to play make. But at the same time, if he is not able to increase his defensive engagement, his production, just all levels of the game, if it doesn't improve, then he's not going to make the NHL. And I just feel like that's a very high upside player. If he does make it in the NHL, he's not going to be able to play in the fourth line, because that's just not his game. A third line would kind of be a little rough for him too, but I don't think he's going to fit into the top 6. So I just don't know if there's going to be a spot for him on the Blackhawks, in my opinion, unless he really like improves in all aspects of his game and he could play on that third line. But right now, I think that you'd have to put him in like a bottom 6, but at the same time, I don't think that he fits in the bottom 6. I think that realistically, you'd want to play him in the middle 6. And if we had a third line player, this would kind of be that, but he's so skilled offensively that he needs to play with other skilled guys. Or you have like a Lucas Reichel type of situation where you're putting him in a position where he's not going to succeed. So this is a really tough one. I would say I would put him at bottom 6 just based on the Blackhawks prospect pool and how I have him. Like, I have outside of my top 12, if you don't add the graduations with like Levshunov, Renzel, Kchinsky, because the Blackhawks are just so powerful. So I don't see him in the middle 6 role right now, but I would just say like third line. So I would put him at
anyway, it's more like judge the player as the player, not according to the depth of your team. Because like any day could be traded to another team, to Calgary, let's say, and maybe then he plays on the top 6 or something. So it's more like individually the player, what do you think he will be? Like, the biggest question I have for Nathan Bem is I didn't watch a ton of him, but I did watch a few games, and I cannot tell a single thing that he does better than last year. And that's like, if there's no progression, then what he is. I don't know if you see something different, but for me, I haven't.
You just see the chemistry with JP Hurlburt. You see him being able to find the open space of where JP is going to find him. You could tell that his offensive IQ is just continuing to grow. But other than that, the weaknesses have not improved, which is what you wanted to see. And in the WHL, you can start to gain bad habits because you're so much better than the other players there. And if you're only scoring goals, why would you not continue to do that every single time? You're going to replicate the success. It doesn't really matter about trying to figure out your weaknesses if you're scoring 70, 80 points with a guy that is just giving you 100 assists. Like, this is a guy that has the skill, but at the same time, like, I just don't see it fitting in with the Blackhawks. But I know it's a team, like, per player, this guy is like top 6 upside, but at the same time, it's like such a small chance. It's probably like 15% chance that he reaches that top 6 potential, where because other NHL prospects have a lot more to their game, but I could totally see him being a third line player and he's settling in there and just having a ton of scoring upside. Like you said, if you have a second and third line that is very complementary to each other and kind of mainly too skilled, Nathan Bem is going to be an incredible piece. He's going to be very, very valuable. It's not based on him. It's just based on he has a lot of skill. He's a really good player at the junior level. We just need to see if it transitions to the NHL. And if it does, he has that top 6 upside, or not top line, but middle 6 upside. But can we see it if, like, Vaner is probably a much in my opinion, a much better prospect than Bem, but Bem has
Yeah.
much better offensive output and much better offensive upside. So I don't know.
Makes me think like he's not the exact same player, but it makes me think of a player. Like I watched a video yesterday from Rob Talks Hockey. I don't know if you ever watched him. He was talking about the career of David Sprong and Daniel Sprong. Sorry, not David Sprong. And it's like it's a guy basically that can score 20-25 goals a year playing 7 minutes a night on the fourth line because he's not trusted, because he's so terrible defensively and doesn't do much. But then he can play on the power play and he has an incredible shot and he can score so many goals. But then after a few seasons, even if he has like 5 seasons of 20 goals plus, like now he's in the KHL and he's being benched in the KHL. So it's like, so it's that type of talent. Like maybe Nathan Bem is not to that level of not caring at all about his defensive game or physical game and stuff like that. But it's a little bit hard for now to see a path because I'm not seeing progression, and progression there will need to be for him to get there. All right.
Where would you put him? Where would you put him on this list?
I think you have him at the right spot. The problem is that he's not a guy that can play on your bottom six.
Yeah.
Unless your third pair, your third line is very strong and it's yours, like you're hitting teams with waves of offense, like your first line, your second line, then you get your third line and you have like a fourth line for physical play and stuff like that. But your third line is basically another strong offensively minded line. In that case, I can see it. But outside of that, like what does he do on a third pair that's trying to lock down the best team, the best line on the other side? So we'll see. Maybe we got it very wrong, but we'll see. Next, Marik Vaner. Different type of player for sure.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of him. I think that he does a lot of things really, really well. He's a player that had a shoulder injury during his draft season and still put up incredible amount of points. And then his draft +1 was halted because he had to get surgery and take a little break and recover. But I think that this is a guy that you see in Brantford. He took over the Lardis role with they needed goal scoring. He got them goal scoring. So Marik Vaner here has that top six potential. But at the same time, like I think he's going to settle in to either he's going to play on that top pair in a Brandon Saad role where it's like a contributor, but you're not necessarily like a first line player when it on paper, but it's the role he fits. Defensively, he's really good. So I'm going to put him at top 6 with his upside because he does have that upside, former first round pick. But the thing is, I think he could settle into that middle 6 as well. The thing about the Blackhawks prospect pool is they have a lot of guys with a lot of upside, but at the same time, there's a lot of guys that I could see playing on that third line, jumping up from the second and third line a little bit. But Marik Vaner is an actual guy I could see playing on the first line with Bedard, with Fondell, with even Kantserov coming up there. So that's why I'll put him at top 6 because I actually can see the role being filled of him playing on the first line if he reaches that potential. And he could score, and he's going to be able to do the dirty things that superstars might not be able to do. So I just think that this is an easy one for top 6.
Oh yeah, okay. I would put him in the middle 6. I think he screams middle 6 player to me. Like as a guy that can play either on your second line or your third line, depending on the depth. Maybe he could be complementary piece on the first line. I don't think he's a guy that can really drive that line, but anyway, that job
He's
will
not going to be able
on,
to drive it. No.
Yeah, that job will be on Bedard anyway to do that. But yeah, maybe like retrieving pucks deep in the zone and making plays from the board and stuff like that. He could probably absolutely do that. But I think individually his skill set is very much in line with a middle 6 type of player.
Yeah. If you've ever playing Chell, they had that like top 9 description. He would be a top 9 player because I could see him going from anywhere from the first line to the third line because he's so versatile, and you're gonna have to try to play around with who he's good at, who he has the chemistry with. I could totally see him settling in on that third line role, but I can also see him playing that first line role, not because of he's incredibly skilled and he deserves to be on that top line. It's just everything away from the game, away from the puck that he does. I think that he would be a good fit around anyone. So top 9 for me, but I would say top 6 because he has that upside. So he's not going to score like 60 points a year. That's not his game, or 70 points a year. Like, he's going to be a guy that contributes on all levels of the ice and is very versatile. So,
but what I mean,
some
like,
games
if
he's gonna play the
you
first
see him
line.
as a top 9 type of guy, then he's probably more suited in the middle 6 type of category here, because, like you said, he could be on the first line, but individually, he's not a first line type of player. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not.
All right, you could
You
put him on middle six. You could put him.
understand what I'm trying to say? Like, middle
Yeah.
six is not a bad place to be. It's either second line or third line. You find your role in there. It's just like, because I don't see Marik Vaner as a guy that has the skill set to be a first line player on its own. You understand what I mean? So I think it fits more like that, or it could be top 6. I don't mind the top 6 part too. It's just that that would be a guy that's not like a first line type of talent, but that is probably going to be playing on either the second line or the first line, but probably not the third line.
Yeah.
So
I think
whatever you prefer. It's just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Marik Vaner, middle 6, top 6.
Middle 6. We'll go middle 6.
All right, cool. Next one, Oliver Moore.
Oliver Moore's a tough one. Incredible speed.
How's he look?
Like, he looks like he has elite speed, and he looks like he can gain a lot of chances, but the production just hasn't been there in terms of a guy with that much. He has like McDavid level speed, but it's just not all coming together. If it does come together, he has that superstar potential where it's like he's just going to skate you out of the rink. I just don't really see that as going to happen. I don't think he's a first line player. I would say top 6. He could definitely be a top 6 player. I think that's where the Blackhawks are going to continue to play him, in the top 6, and kind of, if he needs a little bit of a break, go to the third line as like a reset. But he's not a bottom 6 player whatsoever. So it's top 6 or middle 6. But the guy just has that much upside that I'm going to put him at top 6. This is a guy that should not have been drafted where he was. He was drafted 19th overall in 2023, and he should have been drafted in the top 10. So I still think his production in the NHL has been really, really good to see, because he needs to gain more confidence in himself, that he can just be one of the best players on the ice every night based on his speed. He has an elite trait where a lot of these guys don't have elite traits. They just they do a lot of good things really, really well, but he is one of the guys that does have that elite trait. And the skating is exactly what the Blackhawks have prioritized. So I do believe that they will try to get his game into the top 6 and get him ready for being like one of those Dylan Larkin light type of players, where he is not going to be a top line player, but he can be on that second line.
Okay, cool. I agree. I think like, the numbers don't really bother me that much. I think Oliver Moore, I always believed in him, and I still do. It's possible that he ends up being like a high-end third line player, but I think he's better suited on that top 6. He's going to bring so much speed, which is going to be an advantage in transition night after night. You get the puck to this guy at the blue line while he's on the fly. He's going to just transition that neutral zone like it's nothing, and he's going to create chances on the rush every single night. So I think there's too much potential to put him in middle 6 for now. But at some point, it's going to have to come. But he's still young enough that it's not really a problem. So
yeah, I agree.
Next one, Kevin Kchinsky. This one, I'm interested.
So with his offensive upside and the lack of defense, like, he's just not a bottom 6 player, in my opinion, potential wise. I think that he can get shunned to the bottom 6, but then he'd be more on that fringe NHLer, because it's just like they're not going to be able to trust him. So if his potential is going to be bottom 4, just because, like, I don't see top pair whatsoever. I don't think that he's going to be able to do that at this point in his career. But at the same time, he has that offensive output. He's going to be put on that power play too. He's going to be running it already in the NHL. We have already seen that report today. So I do believe that this is a guy that can get 40 points in the NHL, but he's not going to wow you defensively whatsoever. So if he's a bottom 6 player, that means that he's just cooked, in my opinion. Like, that would not be a good spot for him whatsoever. He would have to be with a really, really good defensive right-handed defenseman, and let him be able to utilize his offensive skill and just have the breakout passes. Like, Crevier if he's with like a Crevier and like it would just be really really tough. Like unless. But if he's like with a Sam Renzel or an Artyom Levshunov, where they both can, Artyom Levshunov and Kevin Kchinsky would not be good. But if he's with a really good developed right-handed defenseman that has a ton of offensive upside while also defensive upside, they can light the world on fire, because if they have chemistry, they're going to be able to do things that the Blackhawks haven't had, which is two really good offensive defensemen on one line. So I'm going to say bottom four. And this is a guy that can play on the power play. He's going to pick up a ton of points. Really, really has good, real good vision, real good playmaking. Can really start to develop his defense. Like that's all we want to see. That's all the Blackhawks fans want to see, is just him continue to develop that defense, show what he has shown. He was an AHL All-Star back-to-back, AHL MVP, All-Star, AHL All-Star MVP the year before last, and it's just like, or the year before this year, but like it's just so tough to put him as like a top pair or a top four at this point, because we have no idea. I just don't see him being in that top, like a top line anymore. So, or top pair. So
I think he fits perfectly into the bottom four. It's like that category was created for him. Basically, it's like I don't think he has the offensive skills to ever be a first line type of player. And even then, even with the offensive skills, I don't think he has the defensive skills to ever reach that level. But he's a guy that on a third pair, it's hard to find him a role, but he's good enough and young enough to maybe end up being like a number 4 on the team. So I think like he fits perfectly well in there. Like he's either going to be playing on a third pair or second pair. I don't think there's a chance for him on the first pair, and it would be messy, like you said, with Levshunov. That's two players that are not necessarily consistent in their defensive game or even their offensive game. So yeah, that's perfect. I cannot agree more. So next one, Roman Kantserov, the little speedster Russian destroyer.
This is actually one of those guys that has superstar potential, and he's not going to be put in the superstar thing and the superstar list. But what he's doing in the KHL at 21 years old is just absolutely never seen in a guy his size either. He can obviously play against men. He's playing in the KHL. He's putting up numbers. He might be on the MVP candidates. Honestly, he's top 7 in everything. I think he's still leading in goals. I mean, every single day you wake up, this guy's producing another point or another highlight goal. I put him in the first line. I truly believe that this is a statement for me. This is a guy that's going to be a really good NHL player, and I do believe he has that first line star potential. I don't know if he's going to be a top 15 player in the NHL. I just doubt that, so I'm not going to say superstar. But this is a guy that can be a star in the NHL. If he translates in any sort of way, this is going to be like a more feisty Alex DeBrincat that maybe not puts up 40 goals a season, but is going to put up a ton of numbers, is going to be a really good play driver, good playmaker, can do it all, has that clutchness to his game, is not going to be able to be he's not going to falter under pressure. He's played, he's a superstar right now in the KHL, and that means a lot, especially how you move, how you act. Like, he doesn't want to play in the AHL. This is a guy that knows he's very talented, and his contract's up after this year. So he's going to play NHL games, maybe even at the end of the season. And I could totally see him being a 60, 70 point per game per season player. And I would not be surprised. This is a guy that has that upside. I could also see him scoring 80 points one year if he's with the right line mates. This is a guy that you need to have on your team, because he's a really good producer, and he does so many things right. He does not play like he's a 5'9" player either. He plays a lot bigger. It's not like a Victor Eklund where he gets into the middle of the ice consistently, but this guy does so many good things well. He's good at puck battles. He's good around the boards. He makes very quick, twitchy type of movements that allow him to win those board battles and the puck battles. So I feel like he's going to translate really, really well into the NHL. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But I just see that first line potential.
All right. I would put him in top 6, not first line if it was me. But I do agree that at some point, even if he's 5'9", it's just getting harder and harder to say that this guy is too small to make it to the NHL or anything like that. To me, like, he doesn't have like the weight of Kevin Fiala, but I think like he has like that type of upside. Like, at his best, I think he's some type of Kevin Fiala type of player, which is I mean, it's great. So there's no other way around it. Yeah, so like I said, I would agree. Top six, first line is maybe pushing it a little bit for me, but outside of that, I mean, it's hard to disagree. He's been looking fantastic in the KHL. The speed, the feistiness, the shot, the scoring opportunities. He shoots at everything. Every opportunity that he gets, he shoots the puck. Yeah, I think he's good. So, all right, let's go to the next one.
And that was a statement. That was a
Yeah.
statement. AJ Spely for me, I would say bottom six, and he's a perfect bottom six. This guy is somebody that can score the gritty goals up near the net. He's very, very fast. He has that size, heavy hitter. He's going to be a playoff player for you. And when I talk about like the Florida Panthers, this is a guy that kind of fits that mold but he has that speed too. So I don't necessarily think he's not going to be on the second line. He might be on the third line, but even if he's on the fourth line, he's going to be one of the best fourth line players in the entire NHL. And he's going to give you so many valuable key moments because he has so many traits. He has that NHL speed already. Like, I can't believe how fast he is. I think he had the highest burst on 2 days of the World Junior Tournament, I believe. So like 22 or 23 miles per hour. Like, this is a guy that has that speed. So I bottom six is not based on what kind of player he is, like what kind of upside this guy has. It's where he's going to fill in the role because he can play that bottom six. And the Blackhawks have a lot of like top 9 players or middle 6 players. And I just feel like he's one of those guys that can fit anywhere, but I just don't see him having the skill to fit in the first line or make like beating out all these guys to be in the top 6 either. So I'm saying bottom 6. I'll lock that in.
Yeah, I would put him in either bottom 6 or fringe, not fringe, but fourth line. Like, to me, he screams fourth line type of player. He might play on the third line too as a but not even as a complementary player. I think he will be good defensively. He's also physical. He's big. He's fast. He has a lot going for him. I think the offense is just not there. And like you said, he can score those gritty goals, and that's about what he can do with the puck on his stick. But I mean, if he's on the fourth line player, like you said, that would be an elite fourth line player. And if you have elite fourth line player, that means you have great depth. And if you have great depth, that means you have a good team. So I would agree. Bottom 6 or fourth line, I'm perfectly fine with that. So let's go to the next one, Mr. Nick Lardis. Interesting.
For me, I'm going to put Nick Lardis in the top 6 because obviously I could see him playing on the third line just based on how deep the Blackhawks are. But I think that NHL shot, he's going to get top 6 minutes because he's also going to be playing on the power play every single time as well. And I feel like he's somebody that you need out there. If the defensive game and the B game can really increase and be NHL level, he is going to be a very, very good player. This is a guy that could score 30, 35 goals a year. He just has that NHL shot. You're seeing the production level in the AHL. He was one of the best players in the AHL. He even, he does everything right offensively. He's always finding the open space. He has like a mini office, kind of like Ovechkin, but he's not near Ovechkin, but he has like a closet or he has like a little shed. Like, this guy compared to Ovechkin, like, this guy knows what he's good at. He knows how he finds the space. He knows that he is the elite shot. Goalies are afraid of him. If you have him, Fondell, and Bedard all on power play units, like, what are you going to do? Like, the open ice is just fantastic with this guy. If you give him any time and space, he's a guy that continues to produce anywhere. I don't think any of the scouts that we were talking to early on, talking about Nick Lardis, thought he was going to be able to play this well and his floor was this high. But every single game, you're seeing him show flashes, show things. Like, it's a lot easier for forwards and wingers to really develop at a young age because you can kind of take off the defensive game a little bit more. Like, than a Artyom Levshunov, I feel like you can kind of see, or Kchinsky, like, you can see the weaknesses more. But with Nick Lardis, he hides his weaknesses very, very well in the NHL, and I think that he's gotten even better at his weaknesses. He can add more muscle. He can continue to increase that shot. He's beat Bedard at some shooting competitions. This is the type of guy. I was talking to him at the HL. This is the type of guy he is. Like, I could totally see top 6. I could totally see a scenario where him and Roman Kantserov are fighting for a first line role, and then just whoever beats each other out is going to be a good problem for the Blackhawks. So I think Nick Lardis, top 6 for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think at some point, like he's been producing at an elite level everywhere that he's been. Now, it's we can say whatever we want that he's opportunistic and or whatever, or that his game doesn't translate to the NHL. At some point, when he's proving over and over again that he can do what he does, at some point, I think he's just a top 6 player. Yeah, I mean, I can't even debate being middle 6. I think he's a top 6 player. He's just so good, and that shot is just so devastating. And he's quick, and he's smart. He knows where to go on the ice. It's top 6.
And last year, the conversation was, oh, he's getting fed by Jake O'Brien. He only got fed by Jake O'Brien on the power play. They didn't even play on the same line. So it's like, that's not even a good excuse, in my opinion. So, yeah, Nick Lardis top 6.
But last year was his 4th year. He did 4 year, right, in the WHL? The OHL, sorry.
OHL. Yeah.
That's.
I think it was like basically 3 full years, but yeah, you had that 4th, like very.
Yeah. So like sometimes production in those years, it's less important. Obviously, the 70-something goal is impressive no matter like what age you are, but sometimes like big production numbers are not that impressive when you reach like your 3rd year or your 4th year. And at some point, I remember I was thinking of when I thought of Nick Lardis, I was also thinking of Nick Robertson, who was just as impressive as a goal scorer in the OHL. So, but now I feel like, I don't know, Nick Lardis, he has the speed that Robertson never had, even though Robertson is a much more engaged and even physical player, even though he's small too. I think Nick Lardis overall, he has like that speed that Robertson never had and probably should have had to become the player that he wanted to become. So, like I said, Nick Lardis is a top 6 player to me.
But you were right. He did play in the OHL for 4 full seasons. One of those seasons, he only played 37 games. But if he continued to play for the Peterborough Petes in the OHL for his full career, I do not think that this man would have been drafted. He was not given any opportunity. He was not the player he was. In 63 games, his first year, he had 37 points, which was pretty good. But the next year, he had only 19 points in 36 games. Then he got traded to the Hamilton Bulldogs and was 46 points in 33 games, almost a goal a game. And then he went to Brantford and just opened up something. And I think that people thought that it was because of how good Brantford was, but I think that it was because Nick Lardis got that development he needed. And he was running on he had so many things that were going for him. He even played phenomenal in that World Juniors under 18s. He had 4 goals in 7 games. Like, this is a guy that played well with talent around him, and I think he will continue to do that. So I just love everything about Nick Lardis' game. I'm very happy for him because he has definitely figured it out, and he's proven the doubters wrong.
That top 6 with Bedard, Nazar, Lardis, Kantserov. Man, bruising top 6.
Go get Vigo Bjork at this point, man.
All right, next one. Your guy, Sam Renzel.
I like Sam Renzel. I probably coming into the year, I was way too high on him. I would have probably said first pair, lock it down with Artyom Levshunov. Now it's like, what happened? I don't really see it as him. When I watched those games, I thought he was doing good, but then, our coach Blashill kept saying that he was getting beat a lot. So then I had to reevaluate, and it's like, why is he getting beat? He's trying to do too much offensively. I think that he thought something that wasn't going to happen, which he was going to take control of this right-handed defense very, very quickly. I think that he was the leader of the team during the summer showcase in Minnesota. He was the guy that everybody was going to talk to. And I think that it was kind of like a CJ Stroud-esque thing when CJ Stroud talked to Caleb Williams and, tried to give him advice. This is a guy that also needed that advice. This is the guy that also needed somebody to put him under his shoulder. So I think he had too much things going on. I like the AHL reset. This is a guy that is going to be wherever his feet are planted. and he's going to be grounded. He's said that multiple times in AHL interviews. I really, really like this guy. I think that he has the right mindset going back up to Chicago, and I think that he's going to be a top 4 player for a very long time. I could see that first pair upside. I really could. I honestly think that him and Artyom Levshunov both have top pair upside if they reach all of their goals. This is the thing. I might phone a friend here for you. Like, do you see Sam Renzel more as a first pair or top 4? Because I don't want to be biased here, but I just want your opinion if you see him reaching that top pair upside.
Personally, I never seen him as a first pair type of player. But at the same time, even in his draft year, I was really high on him. I always thought he had that top 4 potential because he brought so much. Like, he had offense, he had skating, he had size, he had defense, but he was a little bit all over the place in his draft year. He was very raw, and I think we have to not forget that he's like 21 years old and he's a June birthday, if I remember well. So he's a young player that took a lot of steps in a timeline that's faster than what was expected out of him. I remember in his draft year that he was a big time project. Like, he was there, definitely deserved that first round pick, but he was a big time project. He was not a guy that was going to be ready in a
Thank
year,
you, Leafs.
2 or 3. What?
The Leafs, they traded Peter Mrazek and
Yeah,
the 25th pick, the 38th pick.
Yeah, so I never seen that first pair potential. I don't think he's that type of player, but I think he's a solid top 4 in a solid number 3 on your team. Yeah, so for me, like, top 4 where you have him is perfect. Like, for him to be a first pair type of player over Levshunov.
A lot has to go well.
Even if I forget about the Hawks in general and I just put him on any team as a individual player, I don't see that, but I see him as a top 4 for sure. So yeah, I think it's perfect like that.
And Mason West, one of the
Yeah.
players that has some of the most upside in the entire NHL. He is 6'6", incredibly athletic. You're seeing what he's doing in the USHL this year. He had like a high school championship in football a couple months ago, or not a couple anymore, but back in like November. And now you're seeing him just continue to do what he's been doing in the USHL. You kind of want more production in a guy like this, but the thing is, he is so raw. This guy's not skating every single day during the football season because his body was beat up or whatever it was. So you just kind of implement that in the upside, because what is this guy going to do when he's skating every single day at Michigan State next year? I think that this is a guy that can definitely be in the top 6, just the upside wise. But I do see more middle 6 in terms of where he's going to fall. But the thing is, like, I'm going to put him top 6 just based on I understand how much upside this guy has and where the Blackhawks were coming from trading 3 picks for him, because you took a chance on a guy to not play football. You gave up 3 picks, 2 of them pretty valuable second round picks in that class, and then another pick. So this is a guy that I think the Blackhawks really, really wanted. They see really, really good things with, high value. I'm going Mason West top 6. This is a guy that I could totally see in that area. He's 6'6" and a quarter, very athletic, and just so raw. I can kind of compare him to just like who's a guy like this. I would say, I mean, he wanted to be like Tage Thompson. I just don't see the shot there. He has an incredible amount of skill. I mean, you could see what he's doing with the puck on the stick. He does have it like a string, honestly, if you watch his warm-ups. But I would say maybe Tage Thompson light. I don't think he's going to score 25 goals in a season, but he's going to do a lot of great things right. He's going to be a playmaker. He has really good vision. He just has that IQ, even though he hasn't played a lot. So that's just really exciting for me.
I think the IQ comes a lot from the fact that he has to read as a quarterback. He has to make so many reads so quickly that will translate really well to his hockey career. Like, obviously now you have to understand the plays that you're making in hockey too. Like, it's not it's not an automatic transfer. But once you know what you're doing on the ice, then if you can recognize the plays, recognize your passing lanes, recognize the players that are applying pressure on you, and all these things, then if you can do it quickly, then you have an edge over a lot of players.
But I will preface this.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
Go
have
ahead.
Sasha Bavar and Marik Vaner over Mason West in terms of my prospect rankings, but I have Mason West over them in terms of upside.
Okay. Me, I would have him in middle six. I think he's an incredible athlete. He have good things going for him. Like, I think he's a good skater. He's not just a decent skater. He's a good skater. He's big, like you said. He has the puck on his string. He has good hands. I don't think he's a great playmaker. I don't think he's either a great shooter, at least not for now. But like, he spent a lot of time thinking about other things than hockey, so that's normal. Like, those things can be developed. Maybe less the playmaking, but the shooting for sure. But like, there's nothing to me that screams like for sure top six player for me. For me, like, that guy screams for sure like middle six player. So I do agree. Like, the Sasha Bavar and Marik Vaner, you have him over him, but you think that this guy has maybe a more upside than these two players. But for me, he would be in the same category as these two. All right.
I love that. It's very hard with Mason West because this is a kind of a list where it's like based on the potential as well, and where you kind of see. I don't see this guy playing in the first line unless he hits every marker. So it could be middle six. Like, it's like teetering. It's so close. I'm honestly second guessing myself here with the Mason West top six.
Don't be confident. It's fine.
All right.
It's not so serious. All right, so let's go with the next one. Another speedster. Who would have guessed? John Mustard.
Yeah, John Mustard is a guy that I really liked going to Providence. I didn't understand a lot of why some of the players like Roger McQueen went to Providence, but this is a guy that actually has performed well there. I think he's like top 3 in scoring. I really do like when players go to these schools like Wisconsin and Providence and they score a lot of points, because that's just not those colleges' games. But I don't necessarily like when they go to them, but I think that it helped out his B game. He's going to be more structured defensively. He's going to be more tamed. Like, you're going to be able to coach him to your defensive scheme. I think that, like you said, a very big speedster. I don't see him in a bottom 6 role. I don't necessarily see him in a top 6 role either. I don't even see him. It would be hard for him to even make a middle 6 right now. I don't even want to put him in that fringe or fourth line, because it's like,
well, fringe fourth line is either a player that's like a sure shot fourth line player, like where I would have put AJ Spely, but I think AJ Spely will play in the NHL. So it's not like fringe NHLer. It's just either it's either the fringe NHLer or a guy that you're sure shot to be a fourth line player, basically. So it's like, I agree with what you're saying, by the way. It's like, John Mustard is an impressive player when he skates. He also has a great shot. But I think he's like a dime a dozen a player. Like, what else does he bring? And can he do it in the top 6 at the NHL level? I don't really see it. And in the bottom 6 role, what does he bring? Yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe he could turn into like an Ilya Mikheyev type of player, the super quick player, north-south, that can shoot the puck and sometimes score, sometimes don't. But like, I don't know. It's I'm not convinced, but I do like the player in the NCAA. I think he's fun to watch.
Me too.
I just don't know what he will be.
I think he's better than fringe. I think he has a better chance than fringe, but the bottom 6 is just really hard. Like,
but he's gonna have to develop a B game to be in the bottom 6. But and he's not there in the top 6, at least not for me.
No, I don't think he's middle 6 right now. I mean,
it's okay to be fringe.
That would be all right. I'll go fringe NHLer right now, but if he's going to play, it's going to be in the middle 6, and it's probably going to be on that third line. But there's just I mean, the Blackhawks have 15 third liners. Marik Vaner already we did.
Like
Gavin
what?
Hayes.
Yeah, exactly. What's the difference between, let's say, John Mustard and that German guy you had? What's his name? I don't
Julius Stump.
remember.
Oh, Lucas
No,
Reichel.
no. Yeah, Reichel.
Reichel had
Like
more
right,
upside. Reichel had more upside.
yeah, for sure. I think he had more skills overall, but in the end, he's not looking great.
Yeah.
so what's if I think if Reichel like doesn't really make it, or I don't even know what his stats are right now or where he's playing. I just know you guys traded him, but like
I think he's in the AHL for the Canucks, Abbotsville or something.
Yeah, maybe so. Like if Reichel doesn't get a top 6 role or a middle 6 role, it's hard to see John Mustard getting one.
Yeah.
All right. So Matt Vanek, like we said, we already did him. So Gavin Hayes.
Gavin Hayes. Oh, God. Gavin Hayes is going to be a fringe NHLer as well. It's not a bad place to be necessarily. He's just going to be fighting for opportunities to make it to the NHL.
All right.
He was a former 2nd round pick. I think he was in the what was he in? He was in a trade for DeBrincat, I believe. Yeah, for Kchinsky. Then they got another player, and then him. Yeah, Gavin Hayes has 19 points in 47 games. I think if he has a really good season next year in the AHL, I think that he can come up into the NHL and play on that 4th line. Just give them the just that production. But he's been an okay AHL player. I don't think that he shocks the world. I know that we're missing Martin Misiak too, who has not had a good season, but former 2nd round pick, former 1st overall pick in the OHL draft to the Erie Otters. I think that Martin Misiak might do more for the Blackhawks than Gavin Hayes because of the way he plays. But Gavin Hayes is a very, very good player.
I debated putting him in the cards, and I decided not to.
No, I get that. I mean, he hasn't really done a lot in terms of production in the AHL. I was very surprised. It kind of stinks.
All right, so Jack Pridham.
Yeah, Jack Pridham is the 2nd highest Blackhawks prospect scorer in the entire prospect pool. He has 71 points in 53 games in the OHL. He actually was the jersey runner for Mitch Marner in the Leafs when he was the 4th overall pick. So I always thought that was kind of cool. I would say Jack Pridham is middle 6 potential. Is a guy that can play at a high level, and his strengths are very skilled. He can produce. So he's only gotten better. So I'm not going to put him as fringe NHLer right now, but I do see him playing in NHL games. I'm not sure if he reaches 200, but he has that pedigree. He has that family hockey pedigree. I think his dad is the assistant GM to the Leafs as well. It's a guy that's going to continue to train. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He has a lot of good people in his ears. I could just see him making the NHL. I'm not sure
where he's going to University next year, which is always a great development path
with everybody. And if he plays any type of minutes, if he's playing every single game and getting a really high role, this is a guy that's going to absolutely jump up a lot of Blackhawks beat reporters' prospect rankings because he has a lot of skill. He does a lot of good things right. He is a speedster, like you said, really good both ends of the ice. And I like he's gotten better every year. So going from the BCHL last year to Kitchener and actually scoring, his point production increasing was just very shocking. And then this year did it again. So yeah, Boston, I don't believe that he's actually going to have a tough time transitioning because this guy only gets better every time he leaves a place and goes up to a higher level. I think
he's going to get in at 21 too. Like he's not switching at 18 or something like that. He's getting to the NCAA at 21. Yeah. So
he's 6'2". He has really good size at 190 pounds, right-handed. I think that this is a guy that can make it to the NHL, and I don't think that it's a fringe. I think that it would, if he doesn't have a good year at BU, it's going to switch to fringe. But if he has a really good year, it's going to continue to maintain that middle 6, and I just believe in him, so I'm going to say middle 6.
Good. All right, next one, Ryan Green.
Love Ryan Green. I think that he has absolutely shown that he's an NHL player. When he plays on the first line with Bedard, he actually looks like Brandon Saad. I know it's the 20 on there. He does so many things right. He's always in the right position. I think Ryan Green has been one of the most impressive rookies I've watched this year. Just because he does everything well. He looks like he's an NHL player for 10 to 20 years. This is the kind of guy that the Blackhawks are going to lose in free agency, or they're going to trade someone. He's a Lightning. I do believe that he's going to go to the Lightning somehow, or he's going to go to a NHL playoff team and he's going to put up 20 goals. I could totally see, I'm going to say middle six, but this man is going to play on a first line for a couple of years and just be that guy that helps out stars. This is a guy that is already an NHL player. He is doing so well. I'm so happy for Ryan Green. If you have not watched a lot of Blackhawks games this year, this is one of the most impressive players on the entire team, game in and game out. And I'm pretty shocked. I had him in my top 15 last year for Blackhawks rookies or Blackhawks prospects, but I didn't think that they had room. I also had Dominic James there, but rip, now he's on the Lightning and he's a speedster and keeps putting up numbers, so that's kind of annoying. But I really am glad Ryan Green played really well in college a couple years, and he's just brought that and continued to play well. So Ryan Green, middle six.
That's
I
good.
think that he would be higher than Jack Pridham as well. Like he has more floor than Jack Pridham.
He's also more proven right now. Like he already has like
Yeah.
20 something points in the NHL. So like so sometimes it's hard to compare players that are in the OHL to players that are already playing in the NHL, but that's the beauty of making a list like that, is that you have to put them all together and try to figure out what you think they are. But yeah, there's going to be mistakes. But yes, like you said, Ryan Green could be a complementary player in a top six, or he could be like a lock it down type of player in the middle six. I like him, and I think you got him at the right spot. Next, first goalie on the list, Drew Commesso.
I like Drew. Really good when he's hot. I think he's one of the best goalies whenever he gets hot. Same with Adam Guyan. They're both goalies that can really go on a run. I think Adam Guyan has proven more internationally, especially when it was him in that Slovakia game when Connor Bedard deked everybody and then won. That was Adam Guyan who he scored against. And the Blackhawks drafted him. They drafted the first skater and goalie in a draft for the first time ever. So Adam Guyan and Drew Commesso are going to be fighting for that be starter behind Knight, but I think you need 3 goalies now. So Drew Commesso is going to come up. He's going to take Soderblom's spot. They already gave away Laurent. Laurent, I forgot his name.
Laurent
Brossois.
Brossois? Yeah.
And he scored a goalie goal, and then like 2 days later they traded him. So I thought that was kind of funny. I was actually there for the game. He scored the goalie goal, so that was kind of sick. Drew Commesso, he had a stretch where he won like 8 straight games in the AHL in the Rockford last year, and he's just continued to get better. I think he already has a shutout in a couple games for the Blackhawks. I'm a big fan of Drew Commesso. I've always been. Former second-round pick. He's played 4 games in the NHL and he already has 1 shutout. Like that's crazy. When he's hot, he's hot. So I'm gonna say he's a 1B. Whatever that is, he's a 1B. I think you need a 1A and a 1B now in the NHL.
Yeah. Okay. So if he's a 1B, what I would do is basically like superstars are superstars, right? They're like Sorokin level player.
Bobrovsky, yeah.
1A probably here, first pair, and 1B would probably be here, top 6. So we'll put him in the 1B. So not a backup, not a top 16 type of starter, but like a 1B, man. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Yeah. Julius Sumpf.
He's a guy that has a lot of skill. I just don't know how that's going to fit into the Blackhawks. His point production at Providence again, where the Blackhawks love to have their Providence kids. He is very on par with what John Mustard's doing, but he's just doing it in different ways. John Mustard has 12 goals in 29 games. Julius Sumpf has 3. He's one of those centers that you kind of just put into a middle 6 at the college level, but I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do in the NHL. He's 200 pounds, 6'2", left-handed center. I think that's the size of a center is what the Blackhawks need, but I would just say 4th pair, 4th line guy, fringe 4th line, and I want to see a lot more production with him. But again, he went to Providence, which is probably a good fit for him based on their structure and based on what he's good at. He has a really good, he does everything good away from the puck as well. It's just, he's always in the right place at the right time. Like, I think that this is a guy that actually can make it to the NHL. It's not the fringe aspect, but there's a lot of guys in front of him that do a lot of better things. I'm not going to be a fanboy here and just put everybody at middle six. Like, I think fringe fourth is a good spot for him. I think that he could be a fourth line
And
player.
a bit like I was saying with Nathan Bem, is a guy that I don't see much progression year over year over year. So yeah, I think you got
Well,
him in the right spot. I don't know if he makes it to the NHL or something like that, but yeah. What were you
I
saying?
think the progression year over year was just that he did well with the jump up because
Mm.
going to NCAA is always harder, but he went from the Q to the NCAA, and I feel like that's a lot harder than going to from the OHL or even the USHL because he
Yeah,
played
but
well in
again,
the Q, but he
he
didn't
did
light up
it.
the
He
world.
did it at 2021. He didn't do it like right out of the draft.
What do you
So
mean?
it's like he did this
Oh, your
jump
age,
this
age.
year.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
yeah. So
totally
he
get
did it
that.
at
Yeah,
20. Now he's 21. And
yeah.
so it's not like you're doing that jump at 18 years old in your draft plus one. It's
100%. Yeah.
you're more physically prepared for the NCAA because that's the biggest part. It's like the OHL plays just as fast as the NCAA, no questions about that. The problem is that you're in the NCAA, you're playing against players that are a lot more mature physically, which
Yeah.
is much harder to win your battles, go in front of the net and win your stick battles, and then get the puck in the corners and try to get out of that corner and explode out and create space. It's stuff that you can't do when you're not prepared physically to do. So, but when you arrive at 20, 21, then you're probably a little bit more, or at least you should be uh, more prepared physically to do these things. And but I think in terms of play, like his offense, his defense, his physicality, it's not something like nothing jumps off the page for me, and nothing feels like has really progressed over the last like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Talking to Shane Malloy, who is the author of The Art of Scouting, you know, when we were at the draft, I was sitting next to him when the Blackhawks selected some, and he brought out his binder. He was like, "Look at the guys that were drafted in the top 32." And it's like, how many of these guys from the 25th pick to the 32nd pick do you think are going to make it into the NHL? I'm like, I don't know, like 5 or something. He was like 3. Like, there's only a 10% chance that some of these draft picks play over 200
Yeah.
games in the NHL. And it's just very hard because there's a lot of talent that goes missing in the NHL. But at the same time, I hope that the NHL expands to 2 more teams because it's gonna allow more of these guys to have opportunity, but it's so hard to make it to the NHL and play 200 games. It's one thing to make it to the NHL, it's one play to play 200 games.
Yeah, and stay there and not like having somebody behind you win your position. And for a selfish reason, I don't want any expansion whatsoever because I don't want the Habs to give any players away to a new team, whatever. Like we're on
Oh,
the
yeah.
way up. It's not the time to give our players away. So no, don't do that. So
Totally get that.
next,
Demidov would be
Ethan.
gone, right?
No, I think he's going to be protected, but
Ah,
there's going to
joke.
be either like a good defenseman or a good forward that's
Dobson.
going to leave him, and I don't want that. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
After paying 2 firsts and Heineman, I don't think he's going anywhere.
Joking.
Ethan Del Maestro.
Ethan Del
There you go.
Mastro is a really good breakout passer, but at the same time, we wanted to see more. Wyatt Kaiser, I think, has looked a lot better this year, just in terms of everything. But I think both of those two were fighting. They did open up a spot because Nolan Allen got traded for Kuzman, I believe. Might not have been the same trade. No, no, no. I'm not really sure who Nolan Allen got traded for, but I don't think it was anything like big. But former first round pick Nolan Allen got traded, and I think that opened up a little bit of space. But Crevier, I think, just looks way better than Ethan Del Mastro. I will say the positives in Ethan Del Mastro's game are he has that playmaking ability. He has really good breakout passes. The guy is a quarterback out there. When he sees a guy and he understands the spacing, he's going to throw it up to them. And usually it's going to be a breakaway chance, which you want to see with guys like Nazar, who always has a breakaway chance. Oliver
Yeah.
Moore, who's continued to do that. Sam Lafferty's kind of disappointed me, but before he continued to just get a lot of breakaways the year before. So I think that this is a tough one, but I'll go bottom 6 like sixth pair, like the sixth pair, maybe sixth defenseman. Maybe he could come in. I think that he has that kind of potential. Before the season, I probably would have said bottom four, but the Blackhawks, like you've said, they're gonna have more draft picks. They're gonna have more players coming in. The other defensemen are already looking better. You need a spot for Renzel, Artyom Levshunov, Kaiser, and Kchinsky. And I'm not just talking about like this team. He's going to get playing time after Connor Murphy gets traded, and that's going to happen. But there's not a team that I think is not having this issue. There's a lot of good defensemen in the NHL right now, and I just think that if he makes it, he's going to be on the bottom pair. I think that he's a good player, and I think that he deserves more of a chance. He played incredible in the AHL. He was a first year AHL as a rookie. He was an AHL All-Star. He had an incredible amount of points, and then the second year he didn't do as well, but then they brought him up, played some good games. So I'm really rooting for Ethan Del Mastro to be that bottom four defenseman, but at the same time, I see more bottom pair. But I think he's a really good player, and I don't think that people should discount his value with his passing. He's a very good passer.
How's his mobility?
His mobility is, I would say, NHL average. Like it's fine. It's not going to blow you away with his skating. It's not going to hurt him defensively in any sort of way. But I just think that he didn't do enough in the AHL level to warrant giving him more chances. Like, I'll say this is a guy that got traded for Porter Martone in the OHL. Like, that's just the kind of guy that that was being talked about. He hasn't really had a lot of time in the NHL, but when he does get time in the NHL, he actually produced a lot. He had 6 points in 24 games. Like, the year before in the AHL, he had 37 points in 69 games. Like, this is a guy that I think has only that just like hasn't figured out who he is, because the next year he had 9 points in 47 games, and that was just a really bad year. But the Blackhawks just have not trusted him whatsoever this year. I think that they should have given him way more than 2 games. I think that they just needed to see where he's at, especially on a rebuilding team. I think that you need to give a guy like him kind of those minutes. But I think that he's a 6'4", 210-pound defenseman. Like, this is the kind of guy that the Blackhawks need. But at the same time, they just haven't given him a role. So I just don't know what is going to happen. I think that he should be playing in the NHL right now. I think that he should be getting those minutes. I think that the Blackhawks need to trade Connor Murphy as quickly as possible just to open up more space. And I'm a big Crevier fan, so I don't think you take him out. I don't think you take Kaiser out. I think you need to give Kevin Korchinski time. You need to play Alex Vlasic, and he's not going to be able to play on the right side. So I don't know where he plays, but this might just be an opportunity where he gets traded and he flourishes somewhere else where they give him.
But you can also be the 7th, and you come in like once in a while. Like in Montreal, we have often like Arbor Jackai and Jane Struble, who are 2 similar players in terms of like upside. Like, they play differently. One is more physical, the other one is more like punch in the face type of guy. But like they both aren't that great defensively, aren't that great on the breakout, aren't that great on retrievals, aren't that great at basically most things, but they do fine on the third pair. So like, I think like you can have that type of situation with, let's say, Crevier and him, basically, like just switching. Sometime when one is going off for a couple games, then they just take him off, put the other one on, and you need a 7D anyway. So it could be that role that he has.
Well, I'll say this: Wyatt Kaiser and Ethan Del Mastro were really fighting for that spot during camp, and Wyatt Kaiser just beat him out. And now Wyatt Kaiser has looked like one of the best Blackhawks defensemen in some of the games this year. He has really taken a good step, but I think that he also played well last year too. But it's just getting time on ice, and this is the really 4th NHL season for Wyatt Kaiser, but he only played 9 games in his first year. So he obviously burned his contract, but he's played better every single season. And it's just, last year he was ±0 in 57 games. That's actually kind of surprising, based on Bedard was like -40 plus. He's a -12 this year in 57 games. So honestly, that's really interesting to me. But last year he played fantastic. This year he played pretty well too. So I don't know. It's a Wyatt Kaiser thing with Ethan Del Mastro, who was going to beat each other out, and Wyatt Kaiser won. That's
All
kind
right.
of it.
Let's finish this up with the two last one. First one, Paul Ludwinski.
Yeah, Paul Ludwinski was a former second round pick. I believe he was I think he was 39th overall in the 2022 draft. He actually got hurt this year playing for Rockford. It was a season ending injury. He was actually starting off very, very well. He looked very, very comfortable playing in the AHL. This is just one of those things where I would have to say fringe fourth line guy. I think he's going to be fighting for a spot going up and down from the AHL until he finds his way. This is a guy with a ton of skill, ton of opportunity to just continue to get there. He's very, very young, but it's going to be an uphill battle for him right now. He's a very nice guy. I could totally see him in a broadcasting role too. He did really well beside Dana White when he was doing when he was calling a Rockford Ice Hogs game. But I believe in Paul Ludwinski. I think that he's going to be a player that makes it into the NHL and can play a lot of games. But the thing is, he's just going to have to get healthy, show what he can do, and probably get traded or move on from the Blackhawks because I just don't see there being space. In all honesty,
I think he's a French. That's
yeah,
where I would put him. But you put him French too, or
yeah, French.
yeah. All right. And last one, Adam Gayan.
Adam Gayan is one of those players that I thought when the Blackhawks were picking at 35th, they were going Andrew Cristall. That was just the right pick in my opinion. But they picked Connor Bedard and Oliver Moore. So two smaller players. I mean, Oliver Moore's 6 feet, but he's like not even 180 pounds soaking wet or 200 pounds soaking wet, whatever. But I understand why they went Adam Gayan. He's a guy that can like light up very, very quickly in a playoff run. So I'm going to say he's going to be just under Drew Comesso. I'm going to put him in like that 1C or whatever it is, but backup role where you put him into if he can have a run where the goalie gets hurt, like say Drew Comesso or Spencer Knight get hurt in the playoffs, he has to come up. Comesso gets lit up or whatever it is. You bring in Adam Gayan, he could win a Stanley Cup. Like this is a guy that just if he's hot and doesn't know better, he's going to be able to do things that we never thought could happen. I think the upside is just phenomenal, but I just think that the floor right now is like who knows, but he's had a better season than last year. I will say that he has looked good. He went to the Green Bay Gamblers after his draft season where everybody knew that they had a bad defense and everyone kind of knew that he was going to see a lot of shots and that's what they wanted. That he had like a sub 900 save percentage and everyone was freaking out, even though they knew what was going to happen. But they also, the Blackhawks, he has a 9.905 save percentage this year in 26 games for Minnesota Duluth. He's had a really good season, but the Blackhawks also got another 7th round goalie last year out of Russia who has a .922 save percentage in 32 games in the VHL.
Yeah.
Ilya Kchinsky.
No, something like that. I know.
Yeah, but he's had a phenomenal season too. If you look at Ilya's stats, like from 2021, like 911 save percentage, 925, 919, 962, 931, 942, 938, 922, and in the playoffs, 946. This guy looks like the greatest goalie ever in Russia. But for some reason, he was drafted in the 7th round. So I think that both him and Adam Gayan are going to be fighting for a spot. So,
yeah. I was just looking it up while you were talking. Guyana, the NCAA is usually a league where it's pretty easy to have crazy stats as a goalie, even if you're not like that great of a goalie. And he's 50th in terms of save percentage at 905 in the entire NCAA. Like there are other in the Habs, we have a couple goalies in the NCAA right now. We have Emmet Cotto, we have Alexis Cournoyer, and we have Quentin Miller. We're all above him, and they're all players that I don't really see a future in the NHL. So I hope, but I have no clue how Gayan has looked as a player. I just I'm just like stats balling this thing right now.
He just looks really good internationally. Like if you put him in an international stage, he's going to ball out. Like that's kind of it. Everything else, like league play, he hasn't been great. But he's been better last year than last year.
Because I look like at Emmet Kroto, he's at 918 right now, and that guy's like the most. I don't know how to say that, like not sound goalie I've seen in a while. The guy is all over, not necessarily all over the place, like he's losing his position. He's just so not athletic in the way that he moves, and he's not really technical either. And he's like 918. So I like if the form looks good, like the way he plays is more important than the stats themselves. I was just pointing it out that in the NCAA he's 50th overall in saves percentage, and there's a lot of goalies who I don't believe that are like significantly above in terms of stats. But yeah, that's it. I was just challenging you a bit.
The USA is up 4-0 right now in the Olympics, so it looks like there's going to be a an interesting battle for gold. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that, and the Canadian team will probably take the harder way, like they always do, where they lose for 3 periods and then come back at the end or something.
They should have brought Bedard. They should have brought Bedard. I hope Canada loses because they didn't bring Bedard.
Well, we'll see about that. It would be sad. It would be sad, but it is what it is.
Give Lane Hudson an honorary gold.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good players, man, that are just not there, right? At some point, yeah, you got to build your roster and you got to go what you believe in. And I mean, I'm okay with them not bringing Bedard. Like, it's not like he's crazy, like many levels above most of the players that are there. Like, yes, he is better than some players, but is he really that much of a game changer right now? I'm not sure about that.
But all I'll say is, like,
eventually,
I haven't seen anything from Demidov these entire Olympics, so I think he might be a bust.
He is a bust. What do you want? All right, well, that's good. We did the whole thing. We wanted to do it under an hour, and we absolutely failed at it. But but I'll blame it on the fact that the Blackhawks have just so many prospects that I had to list like 22 or 23, something like that. And even then, they're not all in there. So
yeah,
next time should be a little bit shorter, because not every team has 23 players that needs to be mentioned. So
like if we do the stars, it's like Cam Schmidt, and then
that's about it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, people, thank you for watching. We're gonna do more like this one. We're gonna go basically like every team that are rebuilding, coming out of a rebuild, retooling. Anything that basically needs to be mentioned will be mentioned eventually, and probably in the same format, unless the prospect done comes up with a better format than this, which I doubt he will, because this format is fire.
Yeah.
So on this, unless you have anything else to say, I'll say peace.
See you, people.
All right. Thanks for watching. Follow everywhere. Peace.